Welcome to CrossYoga. Welcome to Yoga with me. I hope you feel that it's real, that you grow in your spirituality, and that you honor your body on the mat. Now, some people sometimes ask me, are you religious? When I get that question, I always don't really know what to answer, because in some way, I might to them be religious, but in my life, I feel like I have a faith, and I wouldn't necessarily call that religious. Gotta go more into that theme on the mat. Today we'll start standing on the mats. Now, if you are really tired, just sit down, no worries. But sometimes it's nice to stand. And you can close your eyes, put your one hand on your belly and one on your navel, and just relax your shoulders. Breathe in and out through your nose if possible. Soften your legs and your face. Bring your awareness to what's happening with your hands on your belly as you breathe. Deepen your breath 1 or 2 more times. And before we start warming up and anything else, I'll invite you into a posture of prayer. And you can just put into your own words, either speaking out loud or just inside yourself. So maybe you gather your palms in front of your chest and just say one thing to God that is on your heart right now, something that's personal to you. And then take your arms out to the side, still with your arms closed or eyes closed. And maybe you lift up some people that's on your mind. So God, just mention their names. And then reach your arms up towards the sky. Maybe your nose comes up as well. Still eyes closed if you prefer. And with your arms stretched up, give a thanks or a praise or a worship, whatever you want to call it. Say something that you appreciate about God. And not saying amen, maybe you inhale, let your arms go, and exhale. Beautiful. I like that way. You know, it's something personal that we want to talk about, but finishing with looking up and out towards God. Now, if you're not already at the top end of your mat, please stay there. And do your circle arms, reaching them out to the side as you inhale, palms together. Exhale as you draw your hands down in front of your chest. Now as you do that, following your breath, you might turn on your ujjayi breath, that snoring, exhaling sound. moving slow, but taking your arms as much out to the side as you can. Now you can continue doing this as I will read a passage, okay? If you don't feel like moving because you feel distracted, you can't listen, then just stop in any pose you like, okay? I'm going to read this verse or story from the Bible. So you just continue using your circle arms and breathe. It's from Matthew chapter 19, verse, 16. Then a young man approached Jesus and bowed before him, saying, "Wonderful teacher, is there any good work I have to do to obtain eternal life?" Jesus answered, "Why would you call me wonderful? God alone is wonderful. And why would you ask me what good works you need to do? Keep the commandments, and you'll enter into the life of God." "Which one?" he asked. Jesus said, "Don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't steal, don't lie. Honor your father and mother, and love those around you as you love yourself." "But I've always obeyed every one of them without fail," the young man replied. "What else do I lack?" Jesus said to him, "If you really want to be perfect," or mature, could also be a word there, "now go and sell everything you own. Give your money to the poor, and your treasure will be transferred into heaven. Then come back and follow me for the rest of your life." Then the young man heard these words. He walked away sad, for he had great wealth. Stand still with your arms down by your side. I would suggest that this man was religious. He had an honest quest in life, eternal life. And maybe we know some similarities today, why we might come to Jesus. We might come for health. We might come because we are sad or depressed or stressed or we need help. We come to Jesus saying, "What do I need to do, Jesus, to gain whatever we need? What do I need to do?" I would suggest that is religious thinking, asking, "What do I need to do?" And I'll just let that question being puzzling maybe in your brain. Inhale your arms up overhead and then fold forward. Make sure you bend your knees as you reach down. So no need to answer all the questions right now. Just let it be as a question and live with maybe the uncertainty of what or where I am going with all of this. Step your right leg back to the back end of the mat. Reach your arms up overhead. We're going to turn on the mat today as we warm up. So we're going to do it a little bit slow so you can follow. Reaching forward with a twist, not going all the way down. Right hand, the left side of the thigh. The other arm just reaching back wherever it fits. Then draw a huge circle with the arm back, up overhead as you draw this back foot around to warrior two, align it with the short end of the mat and bending the front knee. Now take this front leg, Swoop it around, or the toes around. This front hand reaching down to the opposite foot if you can. Reaching left arm up overhead. Both hands down. We're going to turn the toes there on the front foot. Lift the back heel off. So now you're backwards towards the camera probably. But you're going to step to the front and fold forward. Reaching your arms overhead. You can just listen to my voice. It's not difficult. Fold forward. And then step up your left leg, reach it up and lift it back. High lunge. We did it just before. Reaching the arms up overhead, back leg stretched, front leg just stacked over the ankle. Twisting, so your left leg or your left arm reach on the outer edge of the thigh. Windmilling the back arm around, warrior two, still looking at the back end of your mat. Going low. Turning the front or back foot to turn around and wide-legged, so the front hand there, twist down to your left leg, so twist the opposite side than before. Reaching the arms up, or the free arm up. Both hands down, turning the toes around so they're gazing out the front, then step back, plank pose. Finding your breath, maybe Ujjayi breath, on toes or knees, lower down, elbows by your ribs. Lift your sternum up, try to broaden in front of your shoulders, and then tuck your toes under, going to down dog. And maybe you walk your legs here, still warming up a little bit. So play with this. Now you can also be religious in your yoga practice, meaning that there is a certain way you have to do every single pose, every single breath. But right now, I just would invite you to be a little bit free and maybe let go of some of those alignment things that you often do. Of course, keeping your posture safe. Come to the front end of the mat and let's do that little bit of a sequence again, turning on the mat. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. And let's just add a back bend. Why don't we? So cactus arms, lift your sternum again up towards heaven. And then hands above your head. Lean forward, swan dive. Half lift, inhale, right leg up. Lowering it down, exhaling. Gaze to the front, inhale, reach up, high lunge. Exhaling, staying here. Preparing our twist. Right hand to the front. Exhaling without going too low. Inhaling, preparing warrior two, turning the back foot, make the arms fit around. Exhale, lean forward. Finding your warrior two, take a breath. Turning this front foot, inhale, wide-legged forward fold, front hand reach the opposite foot, exhaling. Take a breath here. Inhaling as you turn around on the mat, step the back foot to the front. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lean up. Cactus arms, exhale, moving back. Inhale, reaching your arms up overhead. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling, half lift. Stepping their left leg back. High lunge, inhale. And exhale, looking to the back end of your mat. Inhaling, twisting to your left side, exhaling down. Preparing your warrior two, still turned backwards on the mat. And down, getting some distance in between the legs, micro bending the back leg. The front hand there where the knees bend it. Draw it up, turning the front foot around. Again, wide leg forward fold. Right hand to left foot. Lifting up, make sure your toes and knees and everything turns on the mat. Step it back, plank pose. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a breath or two. In down dog, make sure you arch your back a little bit here to gain a deeper stretch on the back if you're up for that. One more time through. Jump or walk to the front. Exhale, fold forward, and maybe soften every move you do here. Inhale, reach your arms up, cactus arms, back bend. Exhaling, letting go. Straighten your spine, inhale. Exhaling, swan dive forward. Inhale, half lift, right leg up and back. Lower it down. Inhale, high lunge. Right hand, opposite thigh. Soften as you move around, finding warrior two, gaze to the front end of the mat. Again, one big breath here and down in warrior two. Turning the front foot, front hand here, crossing over, toes pointing in, reaching down, left hand, right leg. Turning on the mat, toes with you. This time just step to the front end of the mat, fold forward. Reach up, inhale. Cactus arms, back bend, exhale. Navel in as you straighten your spine. Reaching forward. Half lift, left leg up and back. High lunge. Left arm, opposite thigh, twist. Warrior two, turning the foot and gaze to the front. One breath. Turning the front foot again, the back foot in your case maybe. This arm should be your right arm, reaching down to your left. Getting confused with left and right side. Finding plank. Now with the gaze at the front of the mat where you usually have your hands on your face. Step back, lower down. Lifting your chest. And maybe stay with your knees down. If you have a lot of energy, stay in your down dog. The reason why I think what can I do is religious, even though this doesn't have to be involving a god, actually, is because it's like, if something is wrong, I can do something and then it's fair if something good comes back to me. So it's a quid pro quo kind of justice thought of mind. I have to do something, then God has to do something, or fate has to do something. And I think we all know this. What can I do to avoid or to get X, Y, Z, whatever it is? Now, gather your knees, not completely, but just a little bit. Gonna do a little bit of a different sequence here. Coming up on our knees, either tucking the toes under or just here. We're gonna do a camel pose. So take your arms up, out to the side, and open your chest with your knees down. Make sure your navel is in, hip and knees stacked above each other. And don't go too low back. Then straighten your spine, reach your arms up, hinging forward, Staying here without crashing down on the floor. Maybe the pinky finger reach down at some point, scooching further to the front. Staying here with the pinky finger on the floor. Moving back, drawing your hands to the back, throw your arms out to the side. Camel version here. Straighten your spine, arms up overhead. Hold, resist the temptation just to kind of slack down or just fall down here. Pinky finger down. Oh, hold it, reach the pinky finger more to the front, straighten your spine. And then reach back last time. Up, overhead, throw your arms out to the side. Straighten your spine, arms up, palms together, hinge forward in your hip. Reach your arms really far to the front. Pinky finger down. And draw your hands down. And this time, hands to the top end of the mat. Let go of the knees, down dog. So let's do a little bit more of a traditional sequence. We'll do it slow, one time through, and then adding up the pace the next time. Let's start with the right leg up. Extend the leg out, open up your hip. So just lift the right leg as much as possible. Squaring up the shoulders, align it with the short end of the mat. Now this might require the next pose quite a bit of core strength. You can always come down on your knees. Okay, bending this right leg, lifting it as high as you can as you draw it towards the right elbow. Lifting it, lifting it, lifting it. Finding plank. Then draw it underneath and to the top end of the mat. High lunge. Reach your arms overhead. This one we know. Shoulders down. Palms together, maybe you point your finger, reach up and go for a version of a back bend. And then we're gonna shoot our back foot. So still with your arms straight as much as you can. Lean forward without the fingers reaching the floor. And then we're gonna point towards our back leg there. So make sure you have some distance in between the feet so your shoulders are not laying down on the front leg there. Lifting through the front foot, engaging the thigh. Warrior two, turning the back foot around. Reach your arms out to the side. And just to have a little bit of fun, try to do this with your palms, like you're pushing something away, holding your warrior two like this. And let's reverse it. So take the front hand here to the back of the thigh. At least that's one version of it. And lean back. Keeping your core tight. The back foot firmly on the mat. And then gaze to the front. We're going to finish up with a bit of a balance pose. Both hands down. Let the back heel come off. Step it off the mat first. We're gonna do a warrior three with prayer pose in front of our chest. And then combine our eagle pose. So left leg crosses around, bending this standing leg. Cross it around once or twice, whatever you prefer. Now typically we will cross our arms like this, but we're gonna do this one. So left arm up and behind our back. Right hand maybe reaching the fingers there, just hold your shirt, whatever works. Breathe a lot, squeeze the inner thighs. And then release, both hands, fingers on the mat. Whew. Inhale your arms up overhead. Fold forward. Gonna make our way down into down dog through a vinyasa. Inhale, half lift. Plank, low plank. Inhaling cobra or up dog, down dog. The fingers reach down really firmly on the mat. Make sure your shoulders are not up towards your ears, but you're carrying your body weight behind your shoulder blades here, not at the top of the shoulder. And stay strongly, firmly in your shoulders as you lift left leg up. And even though you open up, twisting actually your spine as you open up your hip here, your shoulders remain the same as in down dog. Again, bending the knee, finding plank, left leg or knee there to the left elbow, slowly coming forward, using your strength. See if you can reach the elbow and then tuck the knee under and to the top end of the mat. Yay, we made it. High lunge. Palms together. Maybe that shooting hands. Go for a back bend. Notice if there's any kind of tickly pain or anything in your lower back, then please don't go as far back. Then leaning forward, engage your core. As you reach forward, you're going to shoot that back foot. So take your hands down and make sure you don't squeeze your shoulder blade together in front of you. Make some space. Now my left shoulder is glued to my left leg. Warrior 2, taking our time, coming up, turning the back foot around and just do whatever you need to do to find your Warrior 2. Now before we had our hands up, why don't we just take the hands down? Right, just stretch a little bit of our arms here before we stretch the arms underneath. I know this looks a little bit silly, but go with me. And let's reverse. So this back hand moves behind the back, maybe to the front thigh if you're lucky enough to be able to reach. Make sure you bend the front leg. Engaging everything in your abdomen to windmill the arms around, lifting the back heel off. Are you ready? Warrior 3 with prayer hands, closing the hip, toes pointing down. See if you can let go of the floor, finding that align with the floor, with your leg and your core, spine. And eagle pose. Right leg sneaks its way around, crossing over once or twice, whatever your knees can do. Right hand up, elbows pointing up, back hand going behind us, either holding the fingers or just the clothes. Leaning a little bit forward. Let go. And maybe shake things out here on the mat. Before we repeat a little bit faster our sequence, just want to add that I think a lot of people think of Christianity as a religion. That's why they call me as a believer religious. But I don't believe that following rules, following a lot of to-do lists, eating the right things, doing the right things, actually, in the long run, when we talk about eternity, we talk about everything else, in the long run, that doesn't really make the big difference. It's not what I can do. And maybe there's a seed between religion and faith. Maybe you can recognize that religious part in you. If they get and do so little, then if I do more, I deserve this and this. God has to listen to give me what I want if I act well, if I serve in the church, if I do all these things. Now inhale your arms overhead and fold forward. As you exhale. Half lift. Plank to low plank, jump or walk back. Cobra or up dog. Down dog. Now your body knows what to do now. You might not recall the whole sequence, but anyway, lift your right leg up and just breathe whenever it makes sense, okay? Bending this knee, drawing it up as much as you can as you draw it forward towards the right ankle, finding a version of plank. Maybe kicking the elbow, then underneath the belly to the top end of the mat. High lunge, let go of the floor. Palms together and soften your shoulders, maybe the back leg as well. Lifting for a back bend, arms back. Everything engaged as you lean forward, shoulders on the inside of the knee, pointing towards the back foot. From there, reaching the arms up, overhead, turning or pivoting the back foot, warrior two. Let's do one breath with the fingers pointing up. Reverse your warrior, leaning back, back hand to the front thigh maybe. Reaching then your arms overhead, finding the floor, back heel off. Lift the back leg off, warrior three, prayer pose with your hands. Staying strong, kicking back. Then slowly wrapping left leg around the right, making sure you bend the knees. If you don't do that, you can wrap. Left arm moves back, right arm behind you. Stay for a breath. Letting go, reach your arms up. Exhaling, folding forward. Half lift, inhale. Plank, low plank, exhale. Taking your time, inhale, cobra, up dog. Down dog, exhale. Let's take one breath. If you're maybe moving slower or faster than I am. Then your left leg. First, point your toes, stretch your leg up towards the sky. From there, bend it. Draw the knees up as high as you can as you move the leg to the front. You know, you're going to feel this in your thigh tomorrow, okay? Maybe kicking the elbow. Knee underneath your belly. Reach the foot to the front. High lunge. Palms together. Exhaling back. To the front. Taking your time, still using your Ujjayi breath if you're up for that. Pointing at your toe. Warrior two. Turning the back foot. Hands out. And then we point towards the ground. Reversed warrior. Back hand to the front thigh, leaning back. Making sure your whole body is in one line. Windmilling your arms around. Back heel off. Letting go. Kicking right leg back. Maybe you let go of the floor if you can find any version of a balance. And then eagle pose. Left leg moves around. Crossing over. Right arm up and behind us. The fingers between the scapula. And let go. Close your eyes and stand in mountain pose. So just for a moment, sink into your body, what you feel in your body now. It can be everything from great and amazing to, oh, I'm tired. Fold forward. We're going to stay in a forward fold for a little bit. So I would always prefer some distance in between the feet to keep my balance, so I don't have to wonder too much about that. So you might hug in your knees if you can reach that far down. No need to go to your deepest stretch. Doesn't really make a big difference if you go completely to your max in your stretch or if you just do it like halfway. It's more a matter of doing it frequently. That's the game here. Ready to lift up halfway. Gonna do pigeon pose. All those birds, eagle, pigeon. So step left leg back, and we're gonna bend this knee, put it on the mat. Maybe you align the shin with the short end of the mat, maybe not. Make sure you point your toes. I'm gonna show you the opposite I call reverse pigeon in a moment, but coming down here, relaxing, using a block under your hip if possible. Now knees, that doesn't really love that. This is your option. Almost the same place you stretch, but less weight on your knees. Close your eyes. Relax your body. I've talked a lot about religion, but what is faith? I think Jesus is asking questions to the young man here. Why do you ask me? Why do you say I'm wonderful? So I think he wants the young man to reflect upon his life and his choices. And the young man definitely is a good guy. But when Jesus confronts him with questions of faith and of love, he ends up coming short. He walks away. Now, if you have anything here in Pigeon Pose, some like to sit with the knees bended and do stuff, you're welcome to do that for just a moment. Now take your hands down on the mat, tuck the toes under, lift this right leg back into down dog. If you're on the floor on your back, just shake your legs, do something else. You don't have to come to down dog, just stay on your back. And then opposite side, so you can take your left leg and please avoid like lifting the shin up and moving it to the front. Rather just let it stay there and then move the back, this knee further back, okay? And make sure you don't put a lot of pressure on the knee joint. Pointing the toes to give some space for the knee to move. Now, in my perspective, the difference between a religious person, or religious Christian, I might say, any kind of religion actually, and a believer or someone with faith is a matter of the heart. Do I follow rules or a scheme of justice because it benefits me, because I think it's fair? Or do I follow what I believe in because of love? Because I know what God or Jesus did for me on the cross. And I'm not asking what can I do. I'm saying, what did he do? What did he do for me? As Jesus died on the cross, he made sure that I could step into balanced life through grace. The unbalance of sin has been taken away. And this is, to me, faith and not religion. If you want to do something with the back leg there, bend it, holding it or something, welcome to do that for a few moments. If you're ready, sit up with your hands here, moving onto the hip. So your buttocks comes down the floor. You can take your legs to the top end of the mat. And maybe shake them out. I'm going to do a seated spinal twist. So right leg up, pull the knee in towards your chest, and try not to sit back, but kind of like really gluing the leg and the navel in there. Taking your right hand and moving it back to help you not leaning back, but sitting straight. Either holding the leg as I do here, or wrapping it around. When I'm talking about faith and religion, I'm not doing it to point any fingers at anybody. Actually, this theme came to my mind because I heard a sermon where I find out how religious I often am and how much I need to live in faith. So I know this topic in my own life. Let go and twisting on the other side. Gluing in, turning the shoulders around. Your hip stays firmly on the ground, but as your shoulders twist around, you will have that spinal twist. unwind. Now, if you need a blanket or a shirt or anything before we come down on the mat, grab that. It can even be something underneath your head. I gotta rest here, but we need a little bit of a stretch for the inner thighs, so you can make your butterflies in a reclined position here, knees out. I just want to emphasize with the theme here that I do not suggest that we don't do anything that's good. Of course we do that. We're told to or encouraged to do so. But it's not because I'm earning points with God or earning God's love or earning my way into harmony with God in heaven. I'm doing good because I want to, because God loves me first, and I want so badly to love Him back. I've come to the end of my rope saying, I cannot, but you can, God, and you did. And for this, I'm grateful. And to this, I surrender my life. And instead of walking away like the young man, I was not willing to love and give up his life. I want to say yes to living in faith and letting go of the religious thoughts. Let your knees come together. And then finding resting pose on the mat. As always, the toes are pointing out a little bit, hands on the floor. And maybe you want to throw them out in a cross position as a sign of surrender, or saying, yes, I'm so tired of living a religious life, earning my points with God. So maybe this pose with your body, maybe not so much with your mind and your faith, because it can be hard, but with your body saying, God, I want to live in faith. I want to accept the love that I cannot earn. May it be the most important thing in my life. as you still rest on the floor, let me just read a passage a little bit further down in that chapter. So just stay down on the floor and listen. Jesus is saying to his disciples after they kind of saw this conversation with the young man. Humanly speaking, no one, meaning no one can be saved, because no one can save himself. But what seems impossible to you is never impossible to God. No one can save himself. But what seems impossible to you is never impossible to God. Verse 26. Passage, the Passion Translation. Still staying down on the floor, you can begin to move fingers and toes, if you want to sit up at least. You can hug in your knees, still resting on the floor. And then slowly come into a seat with me here on the mat. I pray that God will bless you. I pray that you will know God's love in your heart, so you live in faith and not in religion. From my heart to your heart, thank you so much for joining me today. I must say I really enjoyed this class, and I hope you felt that too. It's such an important topic. And maybe you share this video with people you know that might also like to hear this. See you in another video.